Sekonic Flashmate L-308X-U. Okay, get some manuals, lanyard, leather looking pouch. I don't know if it's real leather or faux leather. Here's a little belt loop. This seems to be one of the more used light meters on the market for photography and for video. Kind of a lightweight plastic given how expensive this is. Here's the old school Sekonic Studio Deluxe 2. This is the analog light meter that I used back in the day. Requires no batteries. And then here is a 308 in comparison when you look at the size. A lot of the modern Sekonic light meters, they're way bigger. They're bigger than phones. And they even have the reflective meter that looks like a huge scope. And to me, they look kind of ungodly for a light meter. Although if you need all of those readings that those bigger meters can give you, they're necessary. But when you're just taking just basic light readings, this is the size you really just need. So I wanted an electronic version of this because it is, over the years, I have forgotten to dial everything in, and it gets, although really fun, if you want to go old school, this is kind of unnecessary when you got to go really fast. So here is the 308. It takes one AA, and that's where you thread in the lanyard. I took out the little sync port right here because I'm going to demo this in a second, but I took that out. It's a cover. You have an up and down. There's your trigger. You have on off, your mode, and ISO. There's your Lumisphere dome when you're taking incident light readings, or you could flick it off and you can take reflective. The difference is the reflective is you just point it at whatever you're going to shoot. Usually it's for landscapes or for like street photography where you can't get up close, and then it takes the reading. And then I can power it on. You just hold it for a couple seconds. On default, it's already at the photo mode, but there's two other modes. You have to access that mode by first turning it off, holding the mode button, and then turning the power button. And then you can turn different modes. So there's a photo mode, an HD Cine, and a regular Cine. And then within these modes, you can dial in some other settings, but I'm gonna do just the photo mode for now. Then you gotta turn it off. It loads in the photo mode, and by default, it's already photo mode. And that's what you see there. The battery indicator, you get like 3 bars of batteries, then you'll know it's dead. T is your shutter, F is your f-stop, there's your ISO. This first mode right here, you see it's a sun, that's for ambient or when you're outdoors without flash. This next one is when you're doing flash, but you're not connected to a flash. And then that last one right there, it says a C, that's if you're connected to a flash. Regular ambient readings like this, let's just take a reading right here. You just click it, and then boom, that's what your f-stop's supposed to be. Works, fine. This is for ambient, so let's try a flash. So here I'm gonna use an AD200 Pro, and I shoot Sony now. So here's a Flashpoint or Godox R2 Pro 2 for Sony. Gonna use this in a bit, and then that little port right here, you're gonna need a sync cable, which is one of these things. And here's an off-brand, Impact makes one. So many other brands make these kinds of cables. But this one, it says is for Pocket Wizard. That's another brand, but it works for this. Plug that in here. Then on all of the flashes, you should have an area right there that's like a 3.5 mil jack, and then that plugs in right there. And then what you do is you point the source or your flash, you trigger it, and then it takes the reading as it's triggered. There's that lightning with the C. Now I'm connected to the flash, so every time I trigger it, I get a reading. It's automatic. That's how that works. If you want to go away from your lights, I thought there's an area here on this trigger, but this cable doesn't work. It looks like you can put a cable in there, just not this one that is a 3.5. That looks like a 2.5. So I gotta find another cable for that. But what you just have to do when you're away from all your flashes and you're taking an incident light reading is that you gotta have your other trigger in your hand, and you gotta press this is the test fire, and you gotta hit the test fire and then your light reading at the same time. That's a 2.8. Sometimes it doesn't go in sync perfectly. And then that's how you trigger a flash when you're trying to take a light reading with all your strobes.